that breathes back. I wasn't asleep. I kept telling myself that as I stood in the replica of my apartment, same walls, same layout, same scuff mark near the microwave from when I dropped a spoonful of chili last month, everything was identical, except one thing. There was already someone inside. I, the man on the couch. He lay face down on the couch, same clothes as me, same watch, same odd little scar behind the left ear, something I got falling off a bike at 11. He was me, but older, maybe by a few days, maybe by a few weeks, and he was breathing wrong, like he was mimicking it. Not natural rhythm, just close enough to pass. I didn't move, didn't speak, but then he spoke, without turning, without opening his mouth. You're late. I kept your spot warm. 2. The mirrorless were no more mirrors. Anywhere. Every reflective surface had been peeled away, like the walls had rejected the idea of self-awareness. The windows didn't show outside. They showed a lower floor, one I hadn't been to yet. People walked in that view. Thin people stooped, listening to the ceiling. One of them stopped, looked up, and smiled at me through the window. Even though we were supposedly on different floors. Even though this wasn't glass anymore. Just air between two rooms pretending to be real. 3. The call that never happened. The rotary phone rang again. This time it was bolted to the floor, half melted into the tile like it had always been part of the structure. The ringing was coming from inside the walls. No, inside my chest. I picked it up. Silence. Then a voice. Not mine, but wearing my tone like a mask, said, "You can't be here. He'll smell the overlap." I asked who he was. The man you replaced, the 13th tenant. Evie the blueprint. I found a folded piece of paper taped under the kitchen drawer. It was old, yellowed, stiff with age and water damage. It was a blueprint of Wellington Arms, but wrong. The floors weren't numbered. They were named. Had 1 lobby entry offering 2, intake, 3, waiting room, 12, convince, 13, digestion, 14, forgetting, 15, mirror, exhaust. There was no apartment number on mine, just a word scrawled in red ink, borrowed, and beside it another note, written shakily, like someone had to write in total darkness. If he smells you, he will try to make you fit. #V. The ceiling that shuddered. That night, or what passed for night in a building that looped itself, I lay in the bed. Not mine, but also mine. The ceiling above me began to shudder, not like an earthquake, like someone above me was trying to open a hatch from inside a crawlspace. But there was no floor above me. Because in this twisted version of Wellington Arms, I was the top floor. I sat up and saw the shape in the ceiling. It was outlined in moist drywall, sagging slightly, and it was breathing, via the smell of the overlap. When I opened the bathroom door, it was no longer a bathroom. It was a hallway, thin, rotting, made entirely of old carpeting, stretched and stapled into place like skin over bone. I smelled something as I stepped in, something I recognized. My shampoo, my deodorant, my breath, but overripe, decayed, fermented. And then I realized he was here, the original tenant, the one they never evicted, the one the 13th floor kept digesting, fights back. When I tried to leave, the doorknob stretched. Not metaphorically, literally. It elongated like taffy, softening under my grip, becoming warm, then hot, then pulsing. I stepped back, the lights flickered, the layout changed. My bed was now in the kitchen, the sink was now on the ceiling, and all the cabinets were open, inside each one, teeth, not loose ones. Full jaws, grinning, biting the air as if waiting for the right noise. He who listens. He spoke again, the me on the couch, still unmoving, still breathing wrong. "You left your noise on, didn't you?" I didn't respond. "He hates that, the man beneath. He only tolerates silence." I asked who the man was. "By the one under 13, the original." "He's not under 13, the thing said, slowly standing up. "He is 13, and 13 is hungry." Ix, the descent. I broke out through the window. There was no fall, only downward motion like sliding through layers of a mouth. I landed on a stairwell. But the steps were made of typewritten words, pages from a book no one had ever published. Each step I took, a sentence blinked out of existence. Below me, a door. It had my name on it, misspelled. Gry, not Gary, just one letter off. But that's all it took to mean someone else entirely. The final whisper. I opened the door. Inside, a chair, a reel-to-reel recorder, a set of headphones made from bone and wire, and a microphone. Above it scrawled in wet ink, "Say it right and you can leave. Say it wrong and you stay. Say nothing and he wears your name forever." The recorder turned on by itself, and I heard my voice say, "Welcome to Wellington Arms. Don't forget to breathe quietly." Then the walls sighed, and I knew he was listening. "You're not just trapped in it, you're part of its memory." The Man Who Lived Under Floor 13. Part 4. The Floor That Dreamed of Being a Man. They told me not to touch the red thread, not because it was dangerous, but because it remembered who had. The thread. It ran along the baseboards now, from one corner of the room to the other, tense, vibrating, a line of frayed red thread woven into the structure like it had always been there. Sometimes I'd look away for a moment and it would move, shift, twitch, recoil, like it was being pulled from the other side. The same voice, my voice from the reel-to-reel recorder, crackled out from the walls like a leaky gas valve. Follow it and forget, pull it and remember, snap it and he wakes up. I didn't want to do any of those, but the building had made up its mind. Shoot. The neighbor who was never born. That night, I heard someone knock. Once, then twice, then 30 times in a perfect rhythm, like a message in Morse. I checked the peephole. No one. I opened the door. Still no one. But taped to the outside knob was a birth certificate. A real one. For a child named Me. First name only. No last name. Born in Wellington Arms on floor 13, room borrowed. Under mother's name it said N.A. Refused. Under father's name it said U. 3. The room at the end of the thread. I followed the thread. It led through my old bathroom into a crawl space that hadn't existed before, through a tunnel of carpet and fingernails and discarded bones shaped like apartment keys. At the end, a door with no knob, only a slit, just wide enough for a hand. Above it, scratched in chalk, "Powerful, you can only enter through regret." I thought of leaving, but the thread wrapped around my ankles gently and pulled me forward. The room where no one breathed. Inside was a classroom. No students, no teacher, only empty desks, and on each one, a cassette tape, labeled in handwriting that flickered like it was breathing. I picked one up. It said, "First time you lied." I played it. It was my voice at 7 years old, saying, "I didn't break the window, I swear." Then silence. Then a new voice, not mine. "We remember that." I played another, "First time you wished dead." "I hope Dad doesn't come back." Again, silence. Again, the voice used that. The tower within. Beyond the classroom was a vertical shaft. Impossible geometry. A tower that grew inward, blooming like a tumor inside the building. I could hear floors above me, but the numbers were wrong. Someone had spray painted over the official signs and replaced them with words: floor yearned, floor silence, floor mouth, floor eat, floor apologize. Each level hummed with a different frequency. Each level was made of memory. At the top, a mirror, cracked but still reflecting, and behind me in the reflection, him. Not me, but close. The original, the first Gary. The one who never left. VI. The conversation in the dark. He finally spoke. Not aloud. In the walls. In the shifting temperature of the air. In the buzzing of the lights. I wasn't a vid. I was erased. They needed room for another. A better fit. A quieter one. "You made noise." I asked who they were. He laughed. "The building. The dreamers. The tenants who never stop leasing. The ones who rent you like a suit and wear you to parties they'll never leave. Do you think your rent pays for space? No, it pays for permission to exist. Temporarily." The 7, the eviction letter. I woke up in my original apartment. Only I wasn't sure it was mine anymore. There was a letter on the floor, typed, stamped in red. It said, "Sir Rent Delinquent, you have failed to maintain emotional silence. Your memories have exceeded the allotted square footage." At the bottom, a signature, "Wellington Arms, we never forget who lived here." And in the envelope, a key. But not to a room, to a mouth. Carved from brick, dripping, whispering, "Feed us your regrets or we will eat your name." 8, the finale, for now. The last thing I remember from that night, I stood outside my apartment, only it wasn't mine. It had a new label on the door, Gary 2 Improved. And inside I could see him, the better version, polite, quiet, clean-shaven. He looked out the peephole, right at me, and smiled. Then he whispered through the door, You were the test fit, I'm the final draft. And the building began to repaint itself. I watched as the hallway grew teeth and the carpet whispered, now serving the next Gary.